Google's Chromecast and Apple's new TV have the two tech companies battling it out. Who will win the tech wars? Let's take a look at the latest.
If you're shopping for an Apple TV now, you can think twice, since you have quite a few options ranging from set-top boxes to game consoles.
Introducing Chromecast, the easiest way to bring your favorite online entertainment to your TV.
But where does Google's new Chromecast fit into the mix? Well, it's much cheaper than its competitor, just $35. And according to Google, it has all the features of Apple TV and maybe even a few more. This year started as a busy year for Google after announcing the Google Glass. Now the ambitious company is introducing the second generation of its Nexus 7 tablet, the latest version of its Android tablet. But that's not to say Apple is falling behind. Since its launch, Apple has shipped more than 13 million Apple TV units. CEO Tim Cook is serious about TV. The business pioneer says that TV is not just a hobby, but rather a grand vision. Apple TV accounts for 56% of all streaming devices sold worldwide. Apple and Google have a strange relationship. Sometimes they're partners and other times they're competitors. And this week, both companies made announcements about television technology, Apple TV and Google TV, adding more heat to the tech wars.
And joining us now is Fresh Outlook's gadget guy. Of course, we're talking about Dr. Jose Lopez, a professor of physics at Seton Hall University. We also have political analyst Dee Dee Benkie and, of course, political psychologist Dr. Bart Rossi. Thank you again for joining us. Now, there was a time when you could sum up each company. A long time ago, Apple made consumer electronics, Google ran a search engine, Amazon was a web store, and of course Facebook was a social media site. But that has all changed. They're all now merging together. It's making for some great competition, and it could also maybe perhaps change the world. So what are we looking at? Now you're the gadget guy, Dr. Lopez.
Well, I like technology, but gadgets, okay. Well, we'll say gadgets.
Well, gadgets. No, tech gadgets.
Tech gadgets, okay. Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, the hardware is really where the interesting thing is happening. That's really where the technology is going. And Google has decided that they're going to get into the hardware market. So they're making Google TV, Google Chrome, all these other different things that work with the packages they have. Their cloud computation is the big thing. The cloud is the big thing. And Apple really started that market. And Google's realizing they're losing a lot of market in that. So they're gonna take their cloud, and the Apple are going to take their cloud, and the two clouds are going to fight it out. So that's really where it is.
I'm still trying to get over it. I still don't get the whole
Who's going to win? Who's
going
to
fight?
Apple for sure.
Well, yeah, Dee Dee's got her Apple gadget there. But let me ask you a question. Where do you see this going? I mean, we already have so much. I mean, how many iPhones, how many iPads, how many television sets can we have? I mean, how much more can we do on these gadgets?
Well, I mean, they're moving into the home. I mean, everywhere in the home. The living room is the battlefield right now. That's where our TV is, our living room, our family room, whatever we want to call it. There's a TV there, this big hunk of thing, and the cable is really dominating it, and all our TVs are huge these days. They are, 60 inches and above. So that's where they see the competition. They're moving into there, and it's a very aggressive push.
Well, Dee Dee, what do you think? Do you think Google or Apple is more valuable in the eyes of the consumer? I know that I kind of. Why don't you hold up that Apple?
Yeah, Apple. I'm very loyal. I think Apple is the best. I think all their products are fantastic. They should give me a check. but Google makes sense because they're totally losing out. But I don't know. I'm highly suspect as they say that they're to the level of Apple. We'll see. But I think the real losers are going to be like Time Warner Cable. I bet they're really upset because that's the business that's probably going to really get hit because people. I look at the internet all the time and I rarely watch television. So for me, I think for a lot of people, they will take advantage of this.
Well, Dr. Bart, I know you're not necessarily a gadget guy, but I want to ask you just a question about the psychology as we move more into these electronic devices. Is Americans are we going to become less social, or are we more social because of these electronic devices?
I think we're less social and more inept in social skills. To tell you the truth. And actually, to kind of answer that question, I agree with Dee Dee. I think Apple will win at the end of the day because of their psychology, the way they run their business. It's a mix of gadgets and technology and people. I mean, going into an Apple store is really a great experience.
It's an experience.
And they,
I was gonna
yeah,
say.
and they made it that way. And I give them a lot of credit as a psychologist, the way they've integrated people and gadgetry. I think it's wonderful, really.
Well, I will say one thing though, when you do walk in there, everybody's got a gadget and they check you in, and then you go somewhere here and check
To
in.
the Genius Bar. You go to the Genius Bar, they're open 24/7, you walk in, looks like a spaceship, the store, it's fabulous, it's a lot of fun.
Well, once again, Dee Dee and I are very good friends outside of here. But Google, I think Google's going to dominate this. Google has the best search engine. They have that is where it's going, and they realize that if they let people like Apple figure out what to do next and stuff like that, this is why they have the Nexus, which is the competitor to the iPad, and that's doing really well in the markets. They're coming out with the second version of that. So I think Google's going to do it. They have the better technologies, the better programmers, the better everything. Apple has a culture, absolutely.
They do,
That's interesting.
They're a religious experience.
So you're saying that Apple actually has, it's the culture that's selling the product,
Absolutely.
whereas Google has the product.
They have the product and the innovation, the inventiveness, the creativity, everything is at Google.
But just because you may think they have a better product, Apple may be able to sell it better and they may not make it, so it'll be interesting to see. Because I may say, we're not even going to try it, forget it.
All right, well, Dr. Lopez, what are some of the hottest new gadgets that are going to be coming out? And again, I keep saying, what else can we do on these things? I mean, you can already do, you can get maps on there, you can go on the internet, you can call your friends. I mean, what else do I need to do?
Well, I think the biggest thing is definitely in the home. I mean, the living room is where this invasion, what we're talking about, is happening currently. This is where the battleground is. I think the next thing you're going to start seeing is a more movement into the kitchen. In other words, your refrigerator. You run out of milk, your refrigerator will send through the internet a signal to your local supermarket. We need milk. So I think that's where it's going to be moving next. I think security is the other. ADT, those kind of security companies are going to start moving aggressively into this area. And you're going to know 24/7, all the different things, whether your pets are getting fed or what's going on. And I think the smart home is really where all of these companies are really seeing where everything goes. So your home is going to become part of this cloud, what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that the innovation that's going to happen is not something that we could actually even talk about here today, because there are ideas out there that we can't even imagine, even when it comes to personal security devices in the future, or devices so that cars can't be stolen, or technology that will supersede what happens today. I mean, it's going to be fascinating, and I think Apple, I'm leaning in that direction.
But again, I'm going to go to the psychology of all this. I mean, are we going to become so dependent on our electronic devices that we won't have to make decisions on our own, that we'll just wait for Google and...
We're going to have to go back
Please don't go into the bathroom. Just don't, you said the kitchen, just don't go into the bathroom. Don't want to hear it.
We're going to have to teach social skills, really. I mean, because people are lacking. I mean, they text and they don't look. They don't look up.
No, I mean, you say lack of social skills, but I kind of think it enhances them. I understand what you're saying, because, you will see people texting across the room. That's a little much. But, think about what can be done with social media. I mean, you get big groups and you have fundraisers and you do all these wonderful things.
There is an enhancement. There is an enhancement with these devices as well. But it's just that some people don't get the social side of that enhancement.
What do you think?
Well, I also think that I saw a group of young teenage girls, and they actually told me that they thought that their electronic devices were actually personal. They actually thought of it as a person. So I agree, they are.
Well, I mean, I think they are a part of us. They become kind of an appendage. I mean, you see everybody personalizing with different, little stars and sparkles and different things on them. So, I mean, I think it is kind of moving in that way where it's become a personal part of us. But I think there's still a very large divide. Let's be honest. I mean, everyone on this panel can afford an iPad or a Google or internet access for that kind of stuff. But that's the biggest question moving forward. I think moving forward, I mean, in the United States, we are lagging behind. Whether folks want to believe this or not, whether you want to listen to Comcast or Verizon or the different information companies, or I should say telecommunications companies, there is a lag. I mean, if you go to China, Australia, pretty much the rest of the world, they are putting fiber optics, and this is government supported, putting fiber optics down there, and that's where it is. We're still working mostly in pretty much everywhere in the country with copper lines, and that is a limiting factor to how fast we can go, how fast we can communicate, how fast we can get our media, how quickly we want. I mean, that's where I think the problem's going to be.
Well, we're still getting it pretty fast, but I do agree with you that we are lagging in the U.S. in terms of other.
Well, think of it this way: in physics, the upper limit. I mean, here we like to set our speed limit at 55 miles per hour. The actual speed limit of the universe is the speed of light. And a fiber optic cable is moving with light. You're communicating with light, so nothing will be faster than that. And most countries are really realizing that what we have, these technologies, are enabling technologies. They allow new jobs to come about, new ideas to come about, new media to go there. So this is really where the future jobs are going to be coming out of.
Google and Apple are ruling the world then? Is that Google and Apple are ruling the world more than any other company? Is that what you're saying?
In a sense. I mean, it's going to be who kind of regulates that. Is it the consumer, or are we going to let Google and Apple make our decisions?
But is there enough competition within the field? Do we need...
That's part of the problem. There isn't. They're actually collaborating with each other. I love how the segment started, that sometimes, if we talk about these two giants, they're communicating with each other, working with each other, and other times they decide to compete.
That's all we have time for. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you as well. We'll see you back here next week on Fresh Outlook. I'm Toschi. Have a great week. Enjoy some summertime activities, and we'll see you back here next week.